Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals potentially trading for Russell Wilson. This is a trade I'd be really interested to see the Bengals making. The Giants just benched Russell Wilson, and the Bengals so far have got an atrocious quarterback play from backup Jake Browning, who's thrown 59 passes in 2 games, throwing 5 interceptions. We just saw them get blown out by the Vikings 48-10, who really couldn't score before that week 3 matchup. I mean, they only scored 6 points against the Falcons, and they scored 27 against the Bears, but all of it really came in the fourth quarter. So from quarters 1 through 3, the Vikings were not doing any scoring at all, and we saw them from quarters 1 through 3 just absolutely kill the Bengals. Their defense still looks terrible, but the quarterback play from Jake Browning has been absolutely terrible as well, as he's thrown 5 interceptions in about 7 quarters. So he came in second quarter for Joe Burrow in that game against the Jags, and we've seen it for 7 quarters, and he's thrown 5 picks. So since Russell Wilson's been benched, I know Russell Wilson wasn't playing too well either. He had thrown 3 picks in 3 games, but he had thrown for 750 passing yards, in or near 800 passing yards in those 3 games. I think you'd trust Russell Wilson at quarterback when he's got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase a lot more than Jake Browning. I like Jake Browning. I think he's a solid quarterback, but I think Russell Wilson is better than him. And knowing that, does that make you want to trade for him? Because right now, with what I've seen from Jake Browning through 7 quarters, I don't think he has what it takes through the next 10 games to lead the Bengals to a manageable record. Right now, I think the hope would be Joe Burrow comes back. He plays the last 4 games. On December 14th, they have a game. The Bengals have a game at home against the Baltimore Ravens, and then they have 3 easy games following it, playing the Dolphins, the Cardinals at home, and the Browns at home as well. So you've got 3 really easy games after that Ravens matchup. I think the goal is to have Joe Burrow back December 14th against the Ravens. But for right now, you've got another 10 games after that. You've got Jake Browning, and I just don't see him, with what I see from him in 7 quarters, with the Bengals having a little bit of a lot of hard opponents in the next 10 matchups where you should not be without Joe Burrow. I think Browning gets no more than 3 wins in the next 10 games. I think Browning probably gets you a 3-7 record in the next 10 games, which then Joe Burrow comes back to a 5-8 record with 4 games. The Bengals would have to win out, and then you're 9-8, and that might not even be a good enough position to be in the wild card. You'd probably be outside looking in, even if Joe Burrow came back and went 4-0 in the last 4 games. But with Russell Wilson, if Russell Wilson comes in for the Cincinnati Bengals and he is their quarterback for the next 10 games, I believe Russell Wilson can keep them at mediocre. Russell Wilson, I believe, can put them at a level where they go 5-5 in the next 10 games and they stay even for Joe Burrow to return. And then Joe Burrow's coming back to a team that is not 5-8. But 7-6, and you've got the next 4 games against the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and the Browns. It's a lot easier than being 5-8 with those 4 next opponents. You could afford to lose one of those next 4 games and get into the wild card as 10-7. So that is why I'm looking at for this Bengals team, and I'm really thinking yes, there's a lot of flaws in this team, but I think they are 3-7 the next 10 games with Jake Browning as their quarterback, but they could maybe get 4 or 5 with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. And you do not want to be 5-8 in the last 4 games of Joe Burrow coming back. But being 7-6 or potentially being 6-7 is a lot better than being 5-8, because being 5-8, you've got to win the next 4 games, and there's no guarantee you're actually in the wild card. But if you're 7-6, you can lose 1 game. And you're probably still in the wild card if you go 3-1 in the next 4 games where you get Joe Burrow back. Or with 6-7, you have to win all of your next 4 games, but you're good chance you're in the wild card. it being 10-7 compared to the 5-8. Even if you win your next 4 games, you're probably not in the wild card. So I'm thinking that a Russell Wilson trade could be what's best for the Bengals. It doesn't look like Kirk Cousins is open. Kirk Cousins is open for business. I think Kirk Cousins could be a better option for the Bengals, in my opinion. Because Kirk Cousins, and I'm not saying Russell Wilson hasn't played with great wide receivers, but I think Kirk Cousins has played with a very similar wide receiver who knows Justin Jefferson. You've got a guy like Jamar Chase, who I think is as skill talented as Justin Jefferson is, if not as much as, but I think Justin Jefferson is better. Kirk Cousins, I don't think, as good as Russell Wilson is, I don't think he's ever played with a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson, like Kirk Cousins played with for years. And he's thrown the football to a lot of other good wide receivers as well. I think Kirk Cousins for this Bengals team would be a lot better of a fit than Russell Wilson would be, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is available for business. So I think Russell Wilson right now is the best available option for the Bengals, better than Jake Browning. And so, but yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on this potential trade for the Bengals in the comment section, and peace out.